what's up everyone, this is Justin here. I'm just walking on my way to get some dinner at the Big Boy. Yes, we do have Big Boy here in Japan, and I'm a big boy. But yes, I'm just walking home and filming my first ever video. Well, technically my second video, but this is my first video that's going to be uploaded to YouTube from my new iPhone 4S. Before I go into the main topic of today's video, yes, in case of you who want to go to Japan or have AUKDDI, the iPhone 4S is available through AUKDDI now. And up until now, the exclusive carrier to iPhone in Japan was SoftBank, just like how in America there was AT&T, but now it's extended, and thankfully AUKDDI uses CDMA like Verizon and all that. But yeah, I feel cool for having an iPhone, even though millions of other people have it. But yes, proud to have my first ever iPhone ever. But, I just say that just to be positive and all that, because, what I'm going to talk about is a very, very dark topic. A couple years ago, Scott, a.k.a. Unrested, made a video about the mental health situation in Japan and the psychology industry. And he talked about that in the past. He has had students, because their psychologists recommended them to take English lessons to talk to foreigners about their problems. And as he said in his respective video, in Japan, you really don't talk about your problems because of, you don't want to have any negativity in the environment or anything like that. I mean, I think that's a good thought, but, what was it? It's just, eventually that just has its limits. I mean, eventually you need to talk to someone about your problems or talk to some professional. And unfortunately the professionals are kind of, at least some professionals, in my experience, they're kind of forcing it on gaijins like me. And I now have a coworker who's kind of been forced into this predicament. And thankfully this coworker is a fellow English teacher, and she's going to be coming back to work in April, which is when the school year starts. And for the past year, she had to take time off, not just because of mental health issues, but physical complications as well. I'm a bit saying too much, but I don't want to sound like I don't care or anything like that. It's just, when my coworker told me about her situations and her complications, I do feel sorry for her. And and it's kind of funny, at the end of it, she told me that part of her rehabilitation is I won't say part of it, hopefully she meant by she was suggested by her doctors to at least talk to a foreigner about her complications. And all I can say is, I'm not saying I don't want to say I don't like it. It's just that all I can say is, of course, us, random normal people, I consider myself an average Joe, but I'm just not Mr. Right when it comes to, talking about whatever complications you have. I mean, the truth is, I'm just human. I got problems like everybody else. And, I, of course, deal with it my own way, and I've had some complications in the past. Remember last year, there was a period where I was making videos through spring of 2010. And there's certain reasons why, and those are reasons that I want to keep private. And, of course, it's yes and no kind of behind me. But anyway, it's just that, I just think that the quality of the mental care industry in Japan really needs to reform. I mean, from what I understand, it takes a while to get contact with a psychologist, and I'm not saying that this particular coworker is, on suicide watch or anything. It's just, just to somewhat stay on the subject that of course, Japan has one of the highest suicide rates in the world. I don't remember the exact percentage, but I remember a huge fraction, at least less than 10%, were seeking mental health. And I think, to reduce, this unfortunate problem, I think, certain cultural habits need to change, and I think so does the mental health care industry here in Japan. I mean, I don't think people like me are going to exactly solve the problem. I'm not, I don't want to have that kind of, situation on my conscience. Someone talks to me because their psychologist told them to, and all of a sudden they commit suicide. I mean, I'm not saying this person that I've had this situation with is going to do that. It's just that, it could result in something like this if the Japanese psychologists continue to encourage, something that, just like, oh, take English lessons, talk to a foreigner. I'm like, yes, us foreigners, we are willing to share our problems. Like, for example, like, hey, my buddy, his wife cheated on him, he's getting a divorce. I'm like, okay, that's okay to talk about, that happens. But, yeah, God. But for example, in Japan, you can get really drunk with your coworkers and talk about it like, oh, call taxi, send you home. But I think, by encouraging, let's say, I won't say discourage, but by being more open-minded to, that we all have our predicaments at some points in our lives. I think by willing to share, all this other stuff and encourage to share your troubles with a professional or with a friend or something, I think that maybe we could do it. I don't know. It's just that, I mean, I'm happy to be of help to this person. It's just that, I just don't really feel comfortable because, like, hey, I'm not a psychologist. I've experienced a lot of things in my life. I mean, like, the honest truth is, to a certain extent, I really can't, relate to this person directly with what she's going through, but, I still I still understand that she has something going on. I mean, I've had my problems in the past, but, it's not exactly the problem she has, but, if someone asks me for help and I believe that I can help them, to some extent, I mean, like, not be on that professional level, but, I'm willing to just help as a friend, then, yeah, that's cool. By the way, check out all these badass motorcycles. Yeah, just passing by. But, yeah, it's just like, all I can say is, if you do have that feeling that you want to come to Japan, you want to teach English or something in a school or an eikaiwa, meaning a conversation, private school, then you may face something like this. I mean, it's happened to Unrested, it's happened to me, and maybe it's happened to someone else who's living in Japan who's watching. I mean, yeah, that just happens. And, of course, Japan has, and of course, recently there's this whole, the tsunami, the relocations and all that. But hopefully, this recent crisis has kind of changed that mentality. I can't really confirm that, but I'm just hoping for the best. Yeah. Check out this sushi restaurant, but that's not where I'm going. And it's going to be another 10 more minutes before I get there, but, just end the video here. I kind of made this video on the fly since everything's just happened to be so suddenly. But, yeah. I'm just saying, I'm not, if all I can say is that, it's, I'm trying to make a Jerry Springer-esque final thought, but I can't at the moment. But yeah, I suppose me watching Jerry Springer and Maury growing up, and Oprah, and I wouldn't say it's maybe a psychologist, but, it's maybe, it's kind of made me, interested in, like, the human condition. Of course, her problems aren't to the condition, or to the severity of that, what you see on those shows. But hey, I think it's important that, especially with what happened in Japan last March, that we be excellent to each other. Yes, as you can tell from watching this video, I am not someone to talk to if you have a mental problem. I'm not saying I got mental problems. I mean, I've had my problems in the past. I'm fucking human. We're all gonna face crises in our life. I don't know how many times I can say I've had a quarter-life crisis these past few years. I could say 3 times I've had something to the extent of a quarter-life crisis. But, of course, I prefer to keep that private. But after I, went through all that, hopefully it made me a better person. I look at things in a different perspective now. But one day I know I'm going to have that midlife crisis and like the late life crisis. And, when it hits me, it hits me. But if I have to seek mental health, hopefully I'll find a good psychologist by then. But, hey, you know what? As Rocky would say, it's not about how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Alright, that's the final thought. Alright, thanks for watching my stupid ass video for my iPhone 4S.